Hey, what's up? I'm back again. Well, back with another video. My dad is finally at work and I am getting to work on my Christmas tree. Perhaps I should go put it on right now. Well, as much as I really didn't want to, my heart is just not in it this year, for a number of reasons. I'm looking forward to going with my mom sometime this month. And so that really doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to enjoy it. I wonder if you can see it in my sunglasses. It is giving a glow. I just gotta hurry up and get to work on it or I won't have any time whatsoever to enjoy it. And of course the thing with the fire kind of makes me a little afraid of it, but hopefully that's not why that apartment burned down. Okay, well, what I'd like to talk about, I'd like to start out by saying that I went through and sort of rounded up my kidcore dolls, which I will put a picture on the screen, because one picture is worth 1,000 words, to show what they look like all together. But as I've stated before, Kidcore was basically a company that made Barbie scale dolls. Only it was Kelsey instead of Barbie, I'm pretty sure was her name. And the male version was Jeff, though he was extremely rare, unlike Ken. Okay, so there was Kelsey and Jeff instead of Barbie and Ken. And the next size down, okay, you see, Jeff was a lot more rare than Ken because most people that wanted a male doll would just buy a Ken doll, okay? So next you had the Piper, which I've already talked about, Piper, in my last video. Piper, and I'm naming him Colin. I used the brunette just to distinguish her from Kelsey. Okay, so that was the teen size at 10 inches instead of 11.5. And then, of course, my favorite size was their version of Stacy, which was perhaps their most popular doll, because a lot of people that wanted a Stacy doll didn't want to pay the Mattel price, so they had Kidcore Katie instead of Stacy. And the boy version was named Kyle, though this is not an actual Kyle doll, but really a Katie that I made into a boy. So Katie and Kyle instead of Stacy and Todd. Okay. Then the next size, which I'm using a brunette to alternate, was the Carla size, which I really didn't know her name was Carla. The next younger sister was Carla, and she was a unique size of 6.5 inches. She was rare, and she had ballet legs, and as a result, there was no male equivalent, although I made one. Okay, and I guess we'll name him, I don't know, something different. I guess Milo or something. And so here we have the Carla size, and I made a boy, basically just a girl with short hair. And they were made like ballerinas. Only the thing I like about them is they're a little bit younger. They sort of bridge the gap between Katie and her baby sister, Jody, okay, who was the Kelly doll of the Kidcore line, the 4.5 inch. So you had 7, 6, 4 inch, okay? And there really was a boy version of Jody with painted on hair, but this is a flock-haired version I made. And so there was Jody and Timmy instead of Tommy. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Timmy and Jody instead of Tommy and Kelly, or Jody and Timmy instead of Kelly and Tommy, whichever you prefer. Okay, so those were the toddler size. Okay, and then you had these unisex looking babies, okay? And they could be a boy or a girl, but I'm sure they intended them to be girls. They gave them names like Kenna, and I'm sure they intended them to be girls, but they look like they could be a boy or a girl. And there were other dolls with different names of the same size, like Morgan, and I think there was a Pistol Pete was another boy. And some of them had molded hair even, some of the boys. Those are my favorite kind because they're the most rare, the rarest, basically. Okay, so those are my Kidcore dolls. And they're special to me because although at the time they were cheaper, they might actually go for more than a Mattel doll, or at least the same price, because of the fact that there were less of them. and they were manufactured in Texas instead of California. Really, they're all made in China, but I digress. And the only thing I think would have made them better is if the boys would have been more common. Number one, I feel like they were even more female dominated than the Mattel line. And if there would have been more sizes to bridge the gaps, you know, like a size between Katie and Piper. I wish there was a doll in between this size, basically the size of an original Skipper from the 60s, and another size between these two, you know, like a 5.5 inch doll, which is basically a modern Chelsea doll, and why I have so many of those. Okay, so then you'd really bridge the gap between the sizes. You'd have more ages and stages. And you know why other companies didn't do similar things and have basically a line of sisters and complementary brothers? I'm not exactly sure. But those are my kid core dolls, and this is my video about them.